Hey, ladies, welcome to TBV Lifestyle, where you are loving you on the inside and out. So, today I want to get into hair care. Now, this has been about a 10, maybe 11-year journey for me. I've been learning the do's and the don'ts, and I've been doing a lot of the don'ts. But today we're just going to have a small little conversation about some of the struggles that you can encounter when you are living your hair out in the natural. If we're going to start talking about the hair care journey, we have to start from the very beginning. And for most of us, our first experience with non curly, non coily hair happens to be the hot comb. So, in case you don't know what the hot comb is a metallic comb with like a rubbery type of handle that our moms would put on the burner. Yes, the stove burner, so that it can get extremely hot and be able to comb through our coils. Now, when you're a kid, sitting still is not really the optimal thing that we want to do. So just imagine the different types of experiences a lot of people went through, even as teenagers and adults, with the hot comb being burnt on their forehead, burnt at the back of their heads, and maybe sometimes in different areas of the scalp because the comb got too close. So after that, we kind of graduated to the relaxer. And when I was doing my research, I found that the relaxer is really older than I thought. I thought maybe the relaxer was invented around maybe the late 70s, early 80s, because at that point, women were styling their hair a lot differently. But the first documented relaxer was in 1909, and it had lye in it. And lye, or sodium hydroxide, is a very corrosive chemical. And if you don't use that chemical properly, you can experience second, maybe even third degree burns. You can experience hair loss, and there's probably someone in your family that can account and attest to the fact that their hair fell out because they kept the relaxer cream in a little too long. By the 1990s, relaxers had reached their peak in popularity. If you just looked at popular culture at the time and everyday life, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who wasn't wearing a relaxer. It even came to a point where young girls were eagerly anticipating for their moment to have their hair straightened. And it, in some ways, redefined what it meant to be Black and beautiful. By the time we roll into the 2010s, we start to reevaluate this whole relaxer bit. And we are realizing through different types of research, not only are the chemicals so harsh that they damage our hair follicles and potentially burn our skin, but what is the long term effect when we receive these burns and these chemicals get into our bloodstream? Are they related to different types of cancers that we see popping up all of a sudden? Is there a direct link to fibroids in Black women? These are discussions that have been hotly debated all till today about whether or not there are benefits in still using relaxers. So I'm not saying that there's any direct link to these conditions or illnesses. However, there's a lot of research and a lot of work that has gone into looking at relaxers and, some of the pros and cons for every woman who uses it. But for me personally, 2013 was the last time that I relaxed my hair. One, I couldn't keep up with the maintenance. Two, going to the salon was, still one of those things that you kind of looked at it as like a treat, as a treat me day, if you will. But it got expensive. Let's just be real. It got expensive and I could not keep up. And then also, it was a very special time around that time because of the fact that natural beauty and natural hair had a resurgence. And more women were coming out and saying, well, you know what? This whole relaxer bit was something that was introduced to me. It wasn't a free will choice. As for many of us who grew up in the 90s, including myself, this was not a free choice. And so, learning about your hair pattern, your hair texture, your porosity, all of these things come into play. And so, this was for me the beginning stages, at least recognizing that natural hair had a resurgence. And so by 2014, I had done the big chop and I got to see my hair in its natural state for the very first time. And boy, oh boy, was I impressed. So I just want to fast forward a little bit to today because it's been a little bit over 10 years since I did the big chop. And some of the things that I've learned to do as far as taking care of my hair and making sure that it grows to its fullest potential. So right now, my hair is in a bun, but it's actually shoulder length. And the reason why it's shoulder length has a lot to do with some of the things that I've done since doing the big chop. So if you take a look at this picture here, this was in 2018. So I'm holding my daughter, and at the time she was almost 2 years old. This has been the longest my hair had been to date. And that was a blowout. So just imagine if I had straightened it, it was mid back. One of the craziest decisions that I made after that was cutting my hair into a specific hairstyle that would have required me to maintain it. And looking back today, I absolutely regret it, though I really enjoyed the hairstyle. And you're going to see a picture here of what it looked like. It was kind of like a mohawk style. And so, of course, I had most of my head shaved a little bit and just the top. And I would rock that naturally, but in this picture, you see me in braids. And from then on, I would rock it in braids like that. And it was a beautiful style. I mean, everybody complimented me with this style. I loved it. So there's no regret on that part. But just looking back and knowing that I'm trying to go back to that length, I wish I had stuck with it and took care of my hair, because if I did, I'm pretty sure that I would have waist length hair. If this is the beginning stage of your natural hair care journey, one of the first things you want to do is learn about your hair. Like, what kind of texture do you have? What is your porosity? So basically, how much moisture can your hair hold at a time? Do you have high, regular, or low? um, Also your hair curl pattern, because sometimes how your hair responds is different from woman to woman. So you want to learn about that. You want to learn about whether or not you can apply heat to your hair right now, or do you just need it to like air dry, so to speak. And that might be brand new to you. So I know when I first started off, I allowed my hair to air dry. I did not put any heat to my hair for maybe the first 2 years or so, until I felt comfortable and safe to apply the dryer to my hair. And even then, it wasn't that often. Um, I would style my hair in very boring ways, simply because I know that too much hair manipulation would break my hair, because it's fine and delicate and can be easily broken. So I would do two strands twists and kind of pull it back. Whether I could pull it into a ponytail sometimes or just tuck it under like a bandana or a scarf, what have you. I did that for a while. And still to this day, I do some semblance of that. So, it really is about learning what your hair is all about and how you should take care of it. Even wash day is something that's important to know about as well. Like for me, going back to the fact that my hair can break very easily, I do take my time washing my hair. I finger detangle. I barely used a comb in the beginning. And even now, I barely use a comb. I use, tools that I know will be effective in really just helping me detangle and not break my hair as I'm detangling. So, one of the first things that I do is I go through and I finger comb my hair to get those initial tangles out, and then take a tool and brush my hair, especially when I'm in the washing phase. So, yes, shampoo in. I have a rubber style of comb that I have, and I kind of just, take sections at a time and brush through, brush through, brush through, just so that not only is every single follicle washed and has that shampoo applied, but I'm also detangling. It's always best to detangle your hair when it's wet. Same thing with conditioning. You want to make sure that every single follicle receives the conditioner. You want to also make sure that your scalp is clean and using the balls of your fingers, not your nails, but the balls of your fingers in order to massage your head. Because if you do use your nails, you have the likelihood of breaking skin, which can also cause irritation later on. So, a lot of little things that you want to pay attention to on your hair care journey so that your hair and your scalp can get the best out of your, weekly routine. So when it comes to hair oils and butters and leave-ins, to each their own. Again, when you understand your hair and you're learning more about your hair, you're going to know what types of products might go best. It is trial and error a little bit, so there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But once you find the products that work for you, then you stick with those products. For me personally, I create my own oils. I'm even researching how to create my own hair butter because of the fact that I like to know where things come from. And if I'm making it, then I know it's safe, right? The thing with commercial stuff is that no matter how much you read on the label, there's this, that, and the third in it. You're not always 100% guaranteed that that's exactly what's in the container. Not to call anybody a liar, but at the same time, um, it happens. And so for me, I create my own hair oil. I create my own hair water. Right now, I'm really into rosemary and clove water and rosemary and clove oil. I just created some for myself and I'm seeing some great results. Like right now, this is starting to grow a little bit more in. Before then, it was like almost completely gone. So no, these things are not going to happen overnight. Anytime you hear like this overnight stuff, I would just be a little bit suspicious. But if you are consistent and you maintain the same routine, doing it at the same time every single week or what have you, then you're going to see progress. So that's pretty much where I stand on, adding products to your hair. So, my last piece of advice would be to make this as fun as possible. Like, I am having so much fun learning about my hair, learning about what works, what doesn't. One of the key things that I could suggest is to look on YouTube for, different content creators who are really putting videos out there to help us with our hair and discovering different hairstyles, maybe different products. But I'm going to put an asterisk next to this because I feel this is very important to communicate that while you're doing that research, while you are watching these other content creators, please, 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 please do not compare their results to yours. This is about research, not about competing, right? So you want to find someone who may have the same texture hair that you have, may have the same type of porosity, and see what they have tried. What have they learned about, maintenance and all of that stuff? If length retention is something that you're after, go and research that with someone who has the closest hair pattern and hair porosity and all the things closest to you. And then, start journeying, start adventuring out and seeing what, you get from all of that. because this is about returning to ourselves and loving who we are as we are created, and not trying to morph and transform into something that all these other people think we should be. So I hope you picked up some little gems for yourself in this video, and I pray that this was inspiring and helpful. And remember, this is about returning to you and honoring who you are inside and out. I'm Corey for TBV Lifestyle, and until next time, take care. Peace.